when money was going where it was supposed to be going, not supposed to be going. I knew when it sounded fuzzy. I knew what to look for, not to look for, because that's what I did for a living for years. So very, very interesting position to be in. Not courted like you're some rich lady, but like heavily, not negotiated, but like you really develop very interesting relationship with these agencies. So you go through it all. And it's also heavily reliant on a huge special event that this corporation would put on every year, which was like almost the lion's share of the money. It was such a big money event, like a huge money event. And it's connected to what kind of corporation they were, and hence, the big money and whatever. So this is what I did, let's say, for the first half of our Act 1 of our story tonight. This is where I was as a program officer. Now, the other part of what I did, a third of what I did, was travel. Third, yeah, I would say of what I did was travel the country. So there was the work that I did nestled next to this mega corporation in its own nonprofit dedicated exclusively to children impacted by AIDS and HIV. Then they send me out to these people that I am giving money to. They're only the ones that got money, or that I'm giving money, got money, giving money, have my money, of course, our money, everyone's money. And I had to see, you're not just given chunks of money. You have to earn your money while you're taking your money. So in other words, the people don't realize that half of grant writing is understanding compliance. You have to account for every penny creatively and accurately and justifiably. And with maybe some ethics. So, in other words, okay, I'm going to give you $100,000 for your summer camp or your whatever it is, your happy place for children in a hospital wing. I don't know. But I'm not giving you the 100,000. I'm giving you 25,000 4 times a year, but only based on your reporting to me how you're spending that money. But I'm a former grant writer for years, so I can make it, I didn't go out of my way to make it difficult for folks, but they knew that they were dealing with somebody that knew that they couldn't work around. And that's what program officers are for. The best program officers started on the other side of the fence. And again, I don't want to make it like there's tricks to the trade, but there are things, there are flags to look for, both good and bad. And the ones that are red are people or folks that are trying to obtain the money and then trying to figure out what to do with it. That is not what a foundation is for. You are supposed to propose a program. Foundation, government, office, I don't care what it is. It has to be a song that you sing, and every lyric has to pour into that chorus. Every lyric has to go back in. You have to explain. If you decide to, just as a ridiculous example, to buy 4 boxes of pencils instead of 1 that year, not that minute. I need a budget break. I need what's called the budget justification. So in other words, you pass gas, I need to know why, how that changes things. You need to justify to me why you're changing things, how much you're changing, what percentage of who is going over what based on who now, how that changes the allocations all over the place in terms of like staff dedication and resources and everything. All that has to be like like a clock. So I would go out, like I said, they would send me out a third of the year to these places. Now it's a per capita kind of thing. So I was heavily in on the East Coast, New England area, South, Texas, not so much on the West Coast. That was kind of well sourced for its densely per capita areas, except around LA County, like summer camps and things like that, or in California. So I would go out. Now, you guys, there was no GPS. This was MapQuest. This was literally printing out copies from MapQuest on your computer, stapling them, and putting me in the middle of bumfrig Egypt in Massachusetts in the middle of the night with my MapQuest pages going, now where's the turnoff to get to San Antonio from Massachusetts? So I was flying everywhere, renting cars, going to like 3 cities within that state, getting back on a plane, flying to another part like the East Coast, below New England, renting a car, then driving up through New England, then up to Albany, and then a plane down, so you get the idea. It's planes, trains, automobiles, no trains. And so you can imagine with just like little pieces of paper, unbelievable. Here's the thing though, I would go in, I was kind of a barracuda. It was like your best friend or your worst nightmare. That's what I was. And I was there on a friendly visit, but the friendly visit was really Mr. Hawkeye, my spirit animal, a hawk, just being really friendly, but really like deciding, okay, you're going to get your next batch of money. Tell me what you're doing. I want to see what you're doing. So there were places where it was completely legit. You didn't even have to blink an eye because it was a hospital. They knew compliance, they had their own people. It was just sort of an interaction, an eyeballing, and actually a warm, nice experience. Then you had places that were sort of these nebulous kind of agencies where, they kind of morphed client services into but they wanted a new system. That was always a red flag with, technology. We want to develop a system. Because the danger is it goes into like a slush, what they call operating expenses. You don't really want that. It has to be highly dedicated to a program or a project, and you have to prove it to me, letter for letter, penny for penny. So point being, when I hit those places where I started, those tiny clinics, those little teeny nonprofit organizations, I remember specifically in Fort Worth, Texas, or San Antonio, or little places that were struggling. They didn't know that they got their money in chunks. The poor financier lady didn't know how to write a compliance report, that she needed to do that to get her next check. They didn't know. But these other places, these agencies that wanted operating expenses for technology, they knew how to do it. So their toes were to the flame for me. But these places, like where I started, you know what I would do? Take off my fucking jacket, roll up my sleeves, go into her office, sit down and teach her how to do compliance reporting. Teach her how to do a budget justification. Like I said, something changes. Well, why didn't we get our check? Well, see, I need you to know why you need to do a budget justification. It wasn't brain surgery. I don't want to say I'm dumb it down, but I could bring it down a level or two more simply. But these are things that they had to know in order to keep their money, get their money, or have any chance in the future of getting any money. So I know that we're way over, and I gotta let it go there. But that was so gratifying to me, that whole experience, both what I was doing on that sophisticated level at home, so to speak, within the office, making those calls, those Sophie's Choices kind of things, and then sending me all over the country with little pieces of MapQuest paper to dozens of agencies to hold their feet to the flame about the money that we have given them, the millions through this mega conglomerate corporation that I work for by proxy, being their pet project. So that's kind of it. I parted ways with that agency, quite unfortunately, quite suddenly, because I went for the money and I stepped out of that arena into another arena. And of course, like I said earlier, I can't discuss my career, my civilian career, from leaving that children impacted by AIDS and HIV organization through to my retirement. I'm on NDA on that. So anyway, very, very gratifying. CB, my former CEO, you know how much I love you. If you ever see this, don't ever forget that letter that I wrote you recently about how much I learned from you. And you really gave me a set too. Okay. And it was a great way to end my career in a way. So I will let you go. This may be split up. I really hope you got something out of this. I know I was kind of like barking on the previews about, I don't really mean to throw my weight around like that. That's not me. And I am not off my medication. I am not manic, or not that anyone has said that. But I am who I am. Period. So let's just be clear. I course correct. I don't gossip. I don't threaten. I don't, I course correct. I correct courses when they need correcting. I am HO. Okay, I love you all. Thank you for putting up with all of me and all this all the time. And I will see you without a doubt tomorrow. I was going to say I miss you, but I'm with you guys all the time. So I'll see you soon enough. Miss you from around the corner. See you at dinner. Okay, take care. I love you. And be good, I guess. Unless being bad is good right now, being good is not good. I don't know. Bye.